Welcome back to the rest of the story. I had a question, which is, make sure you have any questions, make sure you leave them down in the comments, because that's where a lot of these video ideas are coming from here lately. So yes, leave in the comments, which kind of silo do you prefer? Do you prefer the old concrete cement silos like this, or the big blue silos like that? If I have to choose which one I would prefer to use, it would be that one. But of course, the ones that look the best in the old farm pictures are the old cement ones. Now, on to that question. The question was, what is it about this silo that makes it so dangerous? Well, all silos are dangerous. Each design in their own way, and it's really not, it's pretty well common knowledge that farms in general, there's a lot of different areas and places and different ways you can get hurt or killed or whatever else. One of my more serious potential accidents I had around a silo was with this one. It was when we were filling it and I plugged the blower. Well, in my haste, because you know, haste, you know, you get plenty of accidents when you start incorporating haste with daily jobs. Well, what happened was the blower plugged. It was one of those whirl-a-feed ones where it spins the silage as it comes out of the wagon into a chute and then into the paddles that throw it up the silo. Well, that little throat plugged, and I went ahead and I did shut the tractor and the blower off, but what I failed to notice was the fact that the PTO was still running, or was still spinning. I mean, the tractor was shut off, but that blower was still freewheeling yet. Well, I had my hands down in the throat, or the section that was plugged full of hay, and as I was pulling and pushing trying to get this lodged hay out, it gave, and in that time I realized that those paddles were still spinning, and I almost shoved my hand through the hay into the paddles, because there's 3 spinning paddles in there in the blower, and that would have taken my hand completely off without even slowing it down. It was one of those wake up moments where you realize that being as cautious as you can be, you almost had a very serious life-changing accident, and it's just one of those things that can happen. So I've had my fair share. I imagine a lot of my viewers, a lot of you guys have had your fair shares of, that wasn't too bright, but you just kind of go into autopilot throughout the day when you're doing the same thing 12-20 times. It gets kind of monotonous. So this silo, to unload it, we got the feed bunk down here. The chute is where the silage comes down out of the silo. This silo unloads from the top. There's a silage unloader that sits on top of the hay or the silage, and it goes around with an auger. It spins around on the top of the hay and blows it with a blower back out into the chute, and it falls down and feeds out to the bunk. Those run around, unload from the bottom is what I should say. The arm or the auger depends on if you're feeding just straight shelled corn or if you're doing silage. These are actually unloaded by a chain with what seems like a chainsaw teeth on steroids, and it digs out the silage from the bottom. And the blue harvesters, they unload from the bottom and feed out that way, as opposed to these feed out from the top. Now, the reason I say these are dangerous, or this one is dangerous, what makes it dangerous is there's wooden doors all the way up through that chute, and as that silo gets emptied out, you have to go change the doors down so you can keep feeding out with the unloader every time you get down past a door or 2 doors, if you really stretched it out. And the problem is, you were fine when the silo had silage in it and it was holding those doors shut, but what really got dangerous was when the silo was empty and you went to go fill it. and those doors they get aged and they start to mold, rot, whatever else, just get worn, and the latches that are on the doors may not work as well as they were when they were new, and the door may not stay shut when you're climbing them to raise the silo unloader in the summer or the early spring or the late fall if you're putting corn in it. The reason that it is so, can be and is dangerous is because that has happened. My dad was most of the way up to the top of the silo. This was back before my time, and he said that that's exactly what happened. One of the latches, it ended up breaking out or rotted off, whatever it was, when he stepped on it, and Dad had his hands on the upper door above it, and then when he went to go put his weight on the door below it, that, oh, you guys, there you go, you guys are kind of had some some crud on the lens. When he put his weight on that lower door, the door gave out, or it opened up, and Dad was hanging inside of the silo, hanging off of the door on the above where he was hanging into the silo, and he was just sitting there or hanging there. If it wasn't that, for his hands holding on firmly to the door above him, he would have, that would have been a life-ending accident. So I was always kind of leery about these silos. The harvesters they're more expensive to operate, but they're a lot less, what's the best word to say, a lot less yearly upkeep to them throughout the year. It seems like it's just one big upkeep when you go to short arm the chain, or if you have any issues with the unloader. These, it seems like we always had at least one problem with the cement silos pretty well year round. Less in the summer, but definitely more when we were using them. Well, we used them a lot heavily more in the winter. So these, they get really expensive because you have to typically hire somebody to come in and short arm it, long arm it. If it breaks down when you have to actually dig out the silage to get to the chain or anything, it gets expensive really quick. So yeah, that's my opinion as to why I don't really, this silo itself is fairly dangerous. All the doors are pretty much shot on it. As far as us using it again, it would need a lot of work. The feed bunk would need a lot of work. It pretty much would need all new doors. I don't know what kind of condition the unloader is in, but no, we're pretty well past using this one. If we do go back to silage, it'll be the blue silos, because they are pretty well ready to go if we really needed to use them. So, all right, that's all I got for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope I answered any of your questions, or potentially made a bunch more questions to be answered. So until next time, take care, take it easy, keep in touch. I'll talk to you guys later.